Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Triple H is considered one of the biggest driving forces behind WWE's hottest era in a couple of decades. However, according to Jim Ross, he had real-life issues with a late WWE legend a couple of decades ago. Conrad Thompson spoke to Jim Ross on Grillin' JR and addressed the open secret of the Triple H-Pat Patterson relationship in the late 1990s and early 2000s. The story goes that Pat Patterson, who passed away in 2020, was closer to The Rock than he was to Triple H. He was also not a fan of the game, allegedly nitpicking the Great One in front of his peers and considered it petty. As fans know, Patterson was Vince McMahon's right-hand man for a long time. The King of Kings was known for being a backstage politicking in his heyday. He made it to the most important circles in the industry, something that Patterson was allegedly not a fan of. In response, Jim Ross explained that Pat Patterson was by Vince McMahon's side, stating that he was joined to the hip with the ex-WWE boss for some very important years, including the bad times, which Ross presumably meant the mid-1990s. Times were changing, and Pat Patterson's comedy-based booking style was outdated, according to Jim Ross. Not only this, but as the booking style was changing, it also aligned with Triple H getting closer to Vince McMahon. A conflict between Triple H and Patterson led to the latter walking out because, by that point, the game was too valuable to WWE. It was always known that Pat Patterson's exit from WWE would be temporary. He exited in late 2004 and returned in May 2005 in a limited capacity. Ross said that neither Pat nor the game came to him to insult each other. Triple H's tone about Pat Patterson has dramatically changed in the years since we can't go this far without mentioning that WWE's chief content officer has had a dramatic shift in tone with Pat Patterson. Over the years, as the game got matured and transitioned into a backstage role, it seems like the relationship was able to organically mend itself. Speaking to Ryan Satin of Fox Sports, Triple H named Pat Patterson as one of the most influential people in WWE history. Most influential people? Probably Vince is top of the list. I don't know how you could have anybody be higher than that. But Pat would be, man, he's in there as a tight second to me. There isn't a day that goes by for me at the Performance Center, whether I'm talking to talent or I'm producing television or we're writing something, or I'm doing anything that has to do with WWE where there isn't some piece of Pat that's attached to it, he said. Even at the Post-Elimination Chamber 2023 press conference in Montreal, the game got emotional talking about Patterson, stating that he would have been proud of what he saw. In a candid interview that sent shockwaves through the wrestling community, WWE Hall of Famer Jim Ross revealed that there was once real-life tension between Triple H and a late WWE legend. Known for his unparalleled storytelling and deep insight into the wrestling business, Ross's revelation shed light on a behind-the-scenes feud that had long been the subject of speculation among fans and insiders alike. Setting the stage, a complex relationship, the world of professional wrestling is built on rivalries, both scripted and real. It's no secret that the lines between fiction and reality often blur, with personal issues sometimes spilling over into the ring. Triple H, a cornerstone of WWE for decades, has had his share of on-screen feuds, but as Jim Ross revealed, one of his real-life issues with a fellow wrestler went far beyond the storyline. The late WWE legend in question was none other than Chyna, a trailblazing figure in women's wrestling and a member of the iconic D-Generation X (DX) stable alongside Triple H. Chyna, whose real name was Joanie Laurer, broke barriers in a male-dominated industry, earning the respect of fans and peers alike. However, her relationship with Triple H, both personally and professionally, was fraught with complications that ultimately led to a lasting tension between the two. In the late 1990s, WWE was in the midst of the Attitude Era, a period defined by edgier content and larger-than-life characters. D-Generation X, led by Triple H and Shawn Michaels, became one of the most popular factions in wrestling history. Chyna's inclusion in DX was groundbreaking, as she was portrayed as an equal to her male counterparts, often overpowering male wrestlers in the ring. Behind the scenes, China and Triple H's relationship went beyond professional camaraderie. The two began dating, and their romance quickly became the talk of the locker room. Jim Ross, who was working as WWE's head of talent relations at the time, recalled how their relationship was initially a positive influence on both wrestlers. They were a power couple in every sense, Ross said in the interview. Triple H was on the rise, and China was breaking new ground for women in the industry. They had a chemistry that translated both in and out of the ring. However, as their careers continued to ascend, so too did the pressure of maintaining a high-profile relationship in the cutthroat world of professional wrestling. The beginning of the end, the turning point in their relationship came when Triple H was paired with Stephanie McMahon, the daughter of WWE Chairman Vince McMahon, in an on-screen storyline. The angle, which saw Triple H and Stephanie become a power couple within the WWE narrative, quickly gained traction with fans. But what started as a storyline soon became reality, and Triple H and Stephanie's on-screen chemistry blossomed into a real-life romance. For China, the development was devastating. The once inseparable couple found themselves drifting apart, with Triple H's growing relationship with Stephanie creating an irreparable rift. Jim Ross, who had a front-row seat to the unfolding drama, described the situation as a perfect storm of personal and professional turmoil. China was hurt, and rightfully so, Ross explained. She was in a position where she had to watch the man she loved get involved with someone else, not just on TV but in real life. It was a situation that no one could have prepared for. As Triple H and Stephanie's relationship became more serious, China found herself increasingly isolated. Despite her success in the ring, her personal life was in disarray, and it began to take a toll on her career. Ross recalled how China's once promising trajectory began to falter as the tension between her and Triple H became more pronounced. China was a professional, no doubt about it, Ross said. But it was clear that the situation was affecting her. You could see it in her performances, and you could feel it backstage. There was a palpable tension whenever she and Triple H were in the same room. The fallout the situation came to a head in 2001 when China was released from WWE. While the official reason for her departure was never fully explained, Ross suggested that the personal issues between her and Triple H played a significant role in the decision. China's departure was one of the most difficult decisions the company had to make, Ross admitted. There were a lot of factors involved, but it's hard to ignore the impact that her relationship with Triple H had on the situation. After leaving WWE, China's life took a downward spiral. She struggled with substance abuse and faced numerous personal challenges, all while dealing with the lingering pain of her broken relationship with Triple H. Despite her efforts to move on, the shadow of her past continued to haunt her. For his part, Triple H went on to marry Stephanie McMahon in 2003, solidifying his place in the McMahon family and securing his future as one of WWE's top executives. However, the unresolved tension with China remained a sore spot, even as both moved on with their lives. A belated reconciliation. Tragically, China passed away in 2016 at the age of 46. Her death was a sobering moment for the wrestling community, and it prompted many, including Triple H, to reflect on her legacy. In a public statement, Triple H acknowledged China's contributions to the wrestling industry and expressed regret that their relationship had ended on such a sour note. Jim Ross, in his interview, also shared his thoughts on the possibility of reconciliation between Triple H and China if circumstances had been different. Life is short, and the wrestling business is unforgiving, Ross said. I think, deep down, Triple H always respected China and what she accomplished. It's a shame they never had the chance to fully reconcile, but I believe there was a mutual understanding between them, even if it was never spoken. Legacy of a complicated relationship. As Jim Ross's revelations made headlines, fans and wrestlers alike were reminded of the complexities of life behind the curtain. Triple H and China's story is one of love, heartbreak, and missed opportunities, a reminder that even the most iconic figures in wrestling are not immune to the challenges of real life. In the end, China's legacy as a trailblazer in the wrestling world remains intact, and her contributions continue to be celebrated. For Triple H, her memory serves as a poignant reminder of a chapter in his life marked by both triumph and regret. As the wrestling world moves forward, the story of Triple H and Chyna remains a powerful testament to the human side of the sport they both loved.